Welcome everyone to the Bonzaar podcast, a podcast show about the burner culture and its localized communities in the Asia Pacific region. My name is Stevan Lay, or Silent Disco on the paddock. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and New Zealand, and we at the Bonzaar podcast acknowledges their continuing connection to land, waters and community, and we pay our respects to the elders past, present and emerging. So, for this following episode, we thought we'd head over to Melbourne, Victoria, and take a closer look at an emerging arts and community space that was formed by a bunch of burners situated in Melbourne. Now, I do recall there were talks online in 2018 or 2019, about co-creating a Victorian arts community, and I was invited to this private group page on Facebook, and I remembered saying something snarky like, is everyone real in this group? Because, Facebook at the time was known to have plenty of bots and fake accounts, which it still does, I know. 3.1 billion monthly active users, eh? So it turns out, fortunately, everyone in the group was for reals and serious about building a community and arts culture from the ground up on a farming paddock, pretty much, though Melbourne based. So I'll quickly say something about Melbourne for those who haven't visited before. Being a Sydney-sider, the best thing about Melbourne, or the best thing to come out of Melbourne, is the Hume Highway. No, but seriously, Melbourne is a great city to visit, really. It has a unique tram system, fourth largest in the world apparently. Melbourne has a passionate sporting culture, hosting big events. It seems like the city shuts down on a Saturday for the AFL or footy. They have the Formula 1 Grand Prix, the Aussie Open Tennis, and a statewide public holiday for horse race called the Melbourne Cup. It's very multicultural, has these narrow lanes and alleyways with murals and street graffiti, beautiful botanic gardens, and it gets voted as the most livable city perennially, even though it's known for its unpredictable weather, so that's debatable, and has a population of around 6 million people. So with that number of people, a more localized Vic Burn makes sense. And in 2025, though still in its infancy, we have an emerging arts community space and a new burn event to add to the calendar. Now, before we get into the conversation with JayCee, who is the current president of Common Arts Victoria, there's also T-Rex, Terry, who is the vice chair or vice president, and we are also joined by Narelle and Becca. We do have to apologise up front about the poor audio quality and sound due to technical and connection issues for this episode, particularly towards the end there. But there's still plenty of valuable information about co-creating a community arts and cultural space from the grassroots level. And please do stick around at the end for the outro segment, where we chinwag some more and where we debrief this episode and share with you information on upcoming burn events, how to get involved in a Bonzaar podcast, and a preview of the next episode. Okay, here's a chat with Cavi. Enjoy. A big Bonzaar welcome to everybody. This episode will focus on Common Arts Victoria, its background, its organisation, and of course Underland. With me, I've JayCee, I've got Narelle and Terry. How you guys going?
Doing well, thanks.
Yeah, very well. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys all getting together like this. It's been a silly seasons after New Year's and Christmas. So what I want to talk about first is everyone's background. How did you all get involved in the burner community? And then also, how did you get involved in performing Common Arts Victoria?
How did I get involved in the burner community? So there's a bit of a story to this for me. I don't remember what year it was. It's got to probably be 2010-ish is my guess, or around that. I built this crazy contraption in Melbourne in my spare room. I was living in Fitzroy North at the time. Spare room, backyard, created this crazy contraption. It was called a Hobo Hi-Fi. It was a shopping trolley sound system. So this escalated as it does. I had speakers all the way around this thing. I ended up buying a shopping trolley, so it was actually legit. Had about 250 amp hour sealed lead acid battery on it. It was motorized because it was too heavy to push. I used to take it down to Edinburgh Gardens in Fitzroy North often. Got up to a lot of mischief, got a bit of a reputation. Also used to take it all around protests and street parties and all this stuff. Had a fantastic couple of years with it. Anyway, one time, I'm pretty sure it was Edinburgh Gardens. It may have been some other random happening. And this girl comes up to me and starts talking to me and goes, I think we talked before and everything. And she says to me, have you heard of Burning Man? And I said, no. And she goes, well, you have to come to this thing. You need to meet these people. So she invited me along to. I had no idea what it was. I think maybe I'd had heard of Burning Man. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. Can't remember if I heard of Burning Man or not. But if I had, it was really on the fringes. So I just built cool shit. I had fun and whatever. And so she invited me to this thing, and it ended up being a. I met some of the guys that started Burning Seed. I went to a meetup that they were having at the Footscray art space or maker space or something. There was an art community in Footscray down on the river. And I met with some of the people there, and we sort of, I was brought up to speed of what they're trying to do. They were trying to start up Burning Seed. I think it had a name. It was, they hadn't had the first event. It was pre-Matong, pre-Burning Seed. They'd had a few gatherings, and got to know these people. I realized I had a great vision. I wanted to do something. I realized what was going to be involved in coming to this. I think they'd found Matong, but they hadn't actually run an event there. So I helped with, we had a pre-compression party. There's a fundraiser to try to help get Burning Seed off the ground. Went to that, and then I realized that for me to execute the vision that I had at the time about creating art on a paddock, it's like, hey, what is this? How do I get involved? It's like, oh, this is going to cost a lot more money than I planned. So I ended up disappearing off the scene, off the burner scene for a little while, changed jobs and all that sort of stuff, and then reappeared and started going to Burning Seed and snowballed from there. Ended up doing that for many years. Multiple art installations, effigies, rolled on into becoming involved with this lovely crew at Common Arts Victoria and putting on Underland.
So you were spotted. So you were spotted, and someone said that you were great for this community, and you connected through arts.
Yeah, and I connected through arts. Yeah. And it was really interesting having seen that, like having someone identify that creative streak in me, just going, hey, this is a community that you need to come to.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. You're meant for it. You're meant for it. And Narelle, were you also spotted? Did someone also approach you and said, "Well, you're perfect fit for it, for this community and the people around it as well"?
Absolutely not, which is great. Yeah, no, absolutely not. So I had a misspent youth. It was fantastic. I spent a lot of time in the late, probably actually the early 90s, underground rave scene in Sydney. Had a ball, grew up a little bit, had a little person that's now a very big person, and friends of mine had posted their photographs from Burning Man on Facebook, and I'm like, I've got a 18-year-old now. I'm ready to get a bit crazy again, and I really gelled with the philosophical ideals of burning. You know, radical self-expression, radical inclusion, and that was probably the one that I really picked up on the most. I had to look for it here in Australia. I found Burning Seeds. They were calling for volunteers. I don't consider myself to be an exceptionally artistic/creative human being, but I really do enjoy community, and I've volunteered in a whole lot of other organisations. So I thought, fuck it, why not? I'll give this a go. And I'm so glad that I did. I volunteered with DPI for Burning Seed, and that got me in. So
around what year was this?
Here I am, still trucking along, still, this would have been 2015, still engaged, and I think it's really great because you don't actually have to consider yourself to be a particularly artistic human being to actually be involved and find a space where you can be productive and give some input in.
Yeah, that's right. So how did you get started with Common Arts Victoria, Narelle? How did you get involved?
So that's a really, really good question. I had heard rumblings. I had done some of my own personal research on the organisational structure. That didn't sit well within me, and I absolutely jumped at the opportunity to start a burning event that was community-based from the ground up. It really spoke to me that Common Arts is a registered not-for-profit, an incorporated association where the members have complete involvement with our organisation, and that was something that was really important to me to see. As I said, I had been involved in other community organisations that run along these lines, and so there was a fire in me that wanted to see it completely operated by a volunteer organisation with high levels of transparency. So I started off on the very first engagement phone call and have been here ever since.
Was this 2019?
Yeah. So
2020, I think it was?
I think it was mid-2019 we started with...
When the organisation was formed? Is that right, Terry?
It was formed during COVID, from memory. Because there was about 3 years
COVID,
there was about 3 years of discussion and nothing happening due to COVID, and it sort of kind of allowed us a bit of planning. I think the first camp out at Tony's place in wherever it was 2019. There was a break in the COVID lockdowns, and we managed to get out there, and I think
that was it would have been 2020, something like April. Back in April 2020, maybe.
Not sure. I could have a look through the photos.
The discussions about the discussions had started well before the first camp out, with just a generic call out to the community. Yeah.
And can we talk quickly about the structure? Like, what's your current roles now with Common Arts Victoria? JayCee, are you back?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll do my introduction and how I ended up being absorbed into the burner community here in Australia. Yeah, so for me it happened back in 2018, and it came through a lovely, wonderful Tinder date, as it happens. And I met an incredibly amazing and beautiful person, and she introduced me to Burning Seeds. I'd been involved in various festivals and events and parties and warehouse raves and stuff like that for the past 20 years, sort of in Glasgow, Scotland, the UK, and then a little bit up in Brisbane when I came to Australia. But I'd never been to a burn. I knew about Burning Man, never really appealed to me, but the format of a burn, once I found out about it, became something that I really enjoyed and really sort of sung out to me. And I think it's the best format I've come across for an artistic expression type festival. So yeah, I went along to the 2018 Burning Seed. I volunteered and helped out with the Scratch crew, which is the huge LGBTQI crew. And yeah, went from there, met awesome people, had a blast, blew my mind. And then after that, I went and worked at the decom party at Ceres on the bar. And I come from hospitality, so I ended up just rampaging the bar. Met a couple of people, a guy, Alan John, in particular, and Justin McGee. And yeah, so from there, they very quickly started tapping me and saying that I should get involved more. And yeah, 2019 rolled around. I put my hand up to join DPI because that guy, Paulie, who was running DPI that year, I met him at the decom party and I joined on as his 2IC. And
I think he dropped out. Okay.
Sorry, am I back?
Yep, you're back. Cool, thanks.
Yeah, apologies about that. My phone keeps going into standby. I'll keep an eye on it better. So yeah, I went to 2019 as on the DPI cruise to IC and was on site for 5 weeks, and it was quite the experience. That year, it was full on, but it was amazing. It really was one of my fondest memories and experiences that I've had. And yeah, so that was 2019, and then of course, COVID happened. Also, Burning Seed was sort of going through its a lengthy progress of its own changes and stuff. And I actually was on the town council for about 6 months as well at the end of 2019 into 2020. And yeah, that was an interesting experience. And yeah, early 2020, I got tapped by Justin McGee. He said to me about the, desire and potential formation of the Vic Burn, which is now Underland, and if I wanted to join the board and be a founding member. And so I did and joined on. And just to go back, we got our certificate of incorporation, which started on the 7th of February 2021, just to go back and clarify that. We had the camp out at Tony Matalet's place in September, I think it was, 2020. So we'd been discussing it as a sort of founding members for several months during 2020 and the lockdowns. And the lockdowns actually, in my opinion, helped because it gave us time to really focus on the organizational structure and, how we wanted to structure it. And, eventually we got to being an incorporation rather than a co-op, for example. So that was that. And then I sort of naturally took on the role following on from DPI, doing the Vic Burns version of DPI, which ended up, I called it SPAM, which stands for Site Planning and Maintenance, just as a bit of a, fun, hearty little look at the site running and site management stuff. And so that was that. That was how I got involved. Was originally through a Tinder date, which was pretty cool.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned the during the pandemic, the recalibration that we had time off. I think that was very important. Did you guys have anything to burn? Did you have an effigy or something at the camp out? Did you burn anything?
Yeah, totally. I reckon Terry's probably the best to talk about that.
Yeah, so the camp out was at Tony's place, and he was connected to us via Glenn. Now, Glenn Todd, he's been heavily involved in a lot of the FGs and a lot of the art. He kind of kicked off the whole art burn concept, which is so you get the effigy and temple, and then the one that happens before that at Burning Seed. So he kicked that off. I think it kind of seemed like him. He wanted to build more things and open up. So he's been heavily involved in that. He connected us for Tony's place. And while he was there, he also organised to build a version of a effigy. We had this Plague Doctor, which was probably about 2 meters high, is my guess. And he had a big log that he found, and he actually carved it. Yeah, carved it into a Plague Doctor, period era smallpox kind of thing, doctor's nose. So that was pretty impressive to have him create that for our little camp out. I think we had like 30, 40 people. And so it was pretty cool to have a burn there as well, even at the thing that wasn't a thing. It was just a planning, let's get together and camp. We even had a burn then, which was great.
Cool. Okay, Becca, you're next. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi.
What's your backstory and how did you get involved?
Yeah. So similarly, I heard about Burning Man and Burning Man culture through a dating experience, and that was when I was living in Sydney. I moved to Melbourne in 2012 just for a change of scenery. Spent a few years adjusting to the new city. I had some mental health issues when I got here too, but while I was here, I was lurking online quite a bit, and had been doing some snooping around on Facebook and social media and such things to see what the local burn culture was all about. So I did a bit of lurking, and then went to a few Melbourne parties, and saw what the local scene was like. And then in 2017 decided to take a bunch of time off from work and went to the States a couple of times. And when I was over there, I went to a regional burn in Ohio. There's a tri-state burn there called Scorched Nuts, which no longer exists, but it's
That's a funny name.
Yeah, and the effigy for that one was basically a squirrel sitting on a pile of nuts, which was great. And I had a really cool time. Met a lot of people, including a ranger who knew a few Australian burners, and he mentioned to me about Modifier, which was happening, a few weeks after I got back from that trip. So I got back from that trip, dragged my brother along to Modifier, and met a few more people from the burning community in Australia. And then from there, met an old school burner from the States who'd been going to the big burn, for pretty much since the beginning. And he invited me to come and camp with those guys, which I did, and then met more people, came back to Australia, and so then I started exploring the other burns. I went to Blazing Swan after that, and by the time I got to Burning Seed, I'd already had a bit of a network of people from all over the world and from other parts of Australia. So that was really cool to rock up and have that. And then from there, I somehow found out about the Vic Burn thing that was happening, got invited along to the camp out, which was really fun, and thought that I was interested in the community engagement side of things and just getting involved a little bit more. So I reached out to Justin again. Seems to be the linchpin for all of this, and said I was keen. And then from there it became just got more and more involved with the engagement side of things. And then so
And now you're on the board.
That's right. Somehow a bit of an acceleration in the last couple of years.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Shall we quickly talk about the passing members as well as the new members? Just acknowledge some of these people?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, recently, Narelle herself stepped down, and Shay. And prior to that, we had Justin McGee as well, who did the first couple of years as the president. But yeah, I think, Narelle would be good to speak to, as she's one of the old board members, if you will.
Sorry, it glitched out then. Was there a question?
Yeah, we're just talking about the previous board members, like yourself, Shay and Justin. And yeah, just thought that it'd be good for you to talk about it as well, seeing as you're one of the former board members.
Absolutely. I have a lot of anxiety, and I chose to go on the board, which was a pretty big and bold move for me to do. And I'm so glad that I did. I joined the board because I strongly believe that you can't be what you can't see. And I wanted to be involved in a more constructive way than being in the background. And that's really what encouraged me to step up to be on the board. It's been a really amazing. I'm stepped back now. I did 4 years on the board, and I'm really proud of that. I've stepped back now, and I'm really grateful that Beck stepped in, because it's really important to see diversity and inclusion happen in real time. So yeah, that's my story with the board.
Yeah, thank you, Narelle. And I just want to talk to Shay and Justin, who were original founding board members as well as Narelle. And yeah, I think, a lot of credit should go to Justin for the amount of work that he's done in the background. From the conversations that I had with him over the past few years, Evict Burn had sort of always been something that he'd wanted to set up and do. And, given what was going on with sort of Burning Seeds, and then, COVID, it really just, for him, seemed like the best time to move forward and implement and set up a Victorian burn. So yeah, a lot of props and shout out to Justin for doing that, the initial push for it. And Shay as well, she's a veteran, really well known within the community, highly experienced across the board with things like, health and safety, theme camp. She's involved with, Colquhoun Local, which is a multinational theme camp. And again, that experience and wisdom that she brought was vital at times. And yeah, again, props and hat off to both of them as well.
And we also got some new members, Toby as well.
Correct, yeah. So Toby Wintermute, he's done a double role step up. So he'd been involved with Spam since the sort of first burn / second burn, depending on how you look at it, out at James Hawkins' place, out past the Grampians. Yeah, he was on the Spam crew back then, and he's obviously still going strong. And I stepped down from the site lead, site coordinator actually this year, after this year's Underland, and he stepped up and into that role moving forward, which is excellent. And he's also stepped onto the board as well, which is fantastic.
Yes, it has. And Rebecca, your involvement?
Yeah, so I did Center Camp lead last year. Just saw that there was a need for some energy and focus on that one. I think we had a bit more resourcing available, more funding, so that was great. And yeah, got a really nice setup happening with that big stretch stand, and we got gifted a whole bunch of rugs and bits of fabric, and yeah, pretty much the whole thing was done very, very cheaply, and it was really fun. And yeah, I think the stepping up onto the board is a natural progression through the engagement work that we've done and Center Camp. So yeah, really happy to be here. And I was encouraged by Jamie and Narelle to step up, so it was really nice to have their mentorship and their support, because it is a bit of a stretch. You stick your neck out, you become more visible in the scene, and people start messaging you with all sorts of random suggestions and opinions, and and it's great to have that engagement. People feeling comfortable to reach out is really, really important. But yeah, that's part of the role. You become that figurehead, people come to you.
Yeah, you guys are well organized with your Slack communication. Let's talk about how folks can become a member and get access to Underland for this year.
Terry, do you want to take that one?
If you just talk about like the membership process, that we yeah. So
How does it work?
we've decided that we wanted to try to avoid one of the pitfalls of larger festivals in that anyone can just grab a ticket last minute as they're flying in or whatever. So we really wanted to get a process in place where we can encourage people to be actually part of the community. And because it's not just about partying, it's not just about making art, it's also about community building and connection in a society that has trouble connecting with each other because we're so busy and everything that's happening. It is about building that connection. So we decided to go with a model for that reason, as well as other legal reasons and not-for-profity sort of stuff and security about managing to keep an event running. We decided to go with a membership model. We started out as a $20 membership fee as a way of raising the initial capital for us to be able to run not the event, just be able to run the organization. There's insurance costs and subscription fees and whatnot. So we just needed some way of getting money in.
I think $20 is fair.
Yeah, so we started with a $20 membership fee.
Yeah.
And what we ended up finding was that people were really keen to see the community grow and actually build and the event go ahead. And we actually we've got a huge member database and we're finding that people were actually becoming members and not actually planning on coming to the event. Maybe they lived overseas or different state and they kind of at a different stage in their life, they were never going to come, but they really wanted to see it grow. So they became members and paid their membership fee, which was fantastic and allowed us to actually get off the ground and grow. However, with the multi-step process of becoming a member, paying your fee, then once that's done, then you get a invite to buy a ticket. It was just lots of steps. So we wanted to try to streamline that a little bit because there were lots of hoops to jump through and it could take up to 2 weeks to go from, hey, I want to come, become a member, do all the stuff and actually buy a ticket. So we have streamlined that. We can probably still do some technical streamlining. However, I think it's nice. So when I say technical streamlining, I mean more efficient ways to buy tickets and all that sort of stuff. But I think we're pretty happy with the membership model. It means that people have to buy in to the community, at least in a tokenistic level. They're not able to just go, hey, let's just buy a ticket and go and not care. There's that little barrier to entry, which seems to mean that people have to jump through that first before they can buy a ticket, and it's working to build that community. So I mean, the process now is we're going to rebuild it to make it a bit better. But basically, you fill in the form on our website. The membership gets approved by the board. And then you'll get an emailed out with information about that. So long term, what we're looking at is because Common Arts Victoria was created in a sense that we're more than just one event. We want to create a membership base and a community that we can do one event, multiple events, art, fundraisers, all this sort of stuff throughout the year. So if you're a membership, you're buying into that community, not just the event.
Right. Yeah. So there'll be several engagement activities for you to also attend and get involved.
Eventually. At the moment, we still Underland is our flagship event. We are creating a vehicle. The Common Arts is the vehicle for us to do multiple things, and it's in the name, right? Common Arts Victoria. It's about connecting through arts and encouraging creation and creativity throughout the entire state, not just running an event on a paddock that does some cool shit. So it really is about that community building and community building through art. So it would be fantastic. It's the multi-year dream of having Underland, maybe a local event, and using the using the money from those things to then put on other skill building, skill sharing, community connection things throughout the year.
Yes. And is it still $20?
It's free to be a member now.
Yeah, cool.
We've managed to the event has not made us rich in any way, shape, or form, but it has managed to cover its costs of the organisation throughout the year. We still have to be very careful about not spending too much. like all good not-for-profits. But it is now, so that one of those barriers has been reduced. So it is a free membership.
And I know the ticket release dates are not set. So, but how do people like get informed, or the tickets? When's it available, you think?
Tickets, we're not sure when tickets will be opening. We're in discussions. The latest it'll be opening is in July. We have some issues with having it in the financial year. So we're trying to get around that and bring the ticket sales earlier. There's also some technical issues with having tickets on sale, and it's a bit of a manual process for our ticketing people. They have to man the emails and manage complaints of people the emails are going to spam or whatever. So if we can iron those bugs out, I would love to have it in kind of May, but due to some technical issues, may not be till July. But the best way is to jump on Facebook, go to the Common Arts, join that. We've got a brand new spanking Instagram account, which came up last week. I'll pass over to Beck in a sec, and sign up, become a member. We have a pretty active marketing email list, so you'll get updated with what's going on in the community through that. Yeah, that's and Beck's probably a better one to answer the question about the community engagement, because there's a lot of stuff happening there.
Yeah, last year we ran a community market on a Sunday at a local community hall, and it was a really big success. We kind of were a bit surprised by it, actually. We didn't put that much effort into the marketing of it, and truthfully, the organisation of it was pretty straightforward. We didn't spend a lot of time curating it, but it all came together. We had several stall holders who came in with their market wares, so festival clothing, arts, bits of camping equipment, just random bits of theme camp stuff, and we had DJs playing. The Centre Camp crew had a sausage sizzle, which raised some money. It was just a really nice vibe. People brought their kids along, and yeah, it was just a bit of a surprise. And I think we're quite keen to do something similar this year, and invest a little bit more time and effort into making it even better. But I think it was a really good foundation. And yeah, last year we also did some. We went to a couple of fundraisers and just had like a presence for Common Arts Victoria, just as a hello, we're here, come and talk to us if you're interested. And that had, some pros and some cons. It was quite labor intensive to set it all up, stay for the event, and then pack it all down when you're tired and, thirsty. And we found that most of the people at those fundraisers were already well aware of Common Arts Victoria. But there were a few people there that were like, what the hell is Underland? So it was worthwhile. We learned a lot from it, that's for sure.
So the name Underland, I'm curious, how did it become about, and were there other choices of naming this event? It was like Underpants or something like that. That's what everyone's favorite.
I will speak to this, and well, not quite Stevan. I wanted Vic Burn. Vic Burn for life. That's not where we ended up. Definitely, it was through community consultation. I'll let somebody else speak now, but Vic Burn for life, all I've got to say.
It's a great name. I love the name Underland, though. What's the story behind this?
We had a wall. We had a wall at the camp out where we had the plague doctor. So it was at 2020. Marty, our secretary, he's a gun, amazing man, can organize anything, which is absolutely astounding because generally this community is sparkly cats. So he had this thing planned. We had workshops, we had interaction activities, we had brainstorming sessions to really figure out what the community, what we wanted as a community, what the vision was for both the organization, which was unnamed at the time, and the event, which was unnamed at the time. And then as part of that, we had like spitballing names out there. And I think we had to write them down on a bit of paper and whatever. And anyway, we hadn't decided on the name yet at that point. This is probably on the Saturday. And then the Saturday night when we finished, wrapped up the formalities for the day and cracked a few drinks, sat around a fire and danced away. He had this board in the paddock, like with the camping area. I mean, there was only like 30, 40 people at this thing. And there were all these little name tags, these bits of paper, and people's had names. And we had a tally thing you could like mark down what your favorite thing was and this process. So it wasn't my first one. It definitely has grown on me, the name. I'm quite a fan now. Didn't like it at the start, but yeah, I think it's the right name for the event. But I was quite impressed at the organisation that Buddy had teed up, and the way it made us really wrestle with words and what they meant. Yeah, it was fun.
Did you have any options in mind?
I had one, but in hindsight, I kind of like the idea of oxidize. Was mine, because it's a process that creates the it's rust basically, but it creates the red outback of Australia. So I like the idea of like oxidize as a name. But I think Underland won, and I think it's a fantastic name. I don't know who proposed it, but it was hands down.
It wasn't you, JayCee. This voting process sounds like it's more complicated than Squid Games. Did you have any other names in mind, JayCee?
No, it's not really my forte. I just kind of let other people do the thing when it came to that.
Yeah,
I suspect I know who it was, but I don't actually know if it was him.
I think it was Brandon.
Oh, okay.
I think it was Brandon, if I remember rightly.
Well, kudos to him. Yeah, from Melburners.
Yeah. He's the president on the board, if I remember correctly, still for Melburners at the moment. But I think it was his initial idea. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was Brandon.
Right.
Can we talk a little bit of history for the first 2 years? So Underland is in its third iteration and its fourth iteration now, 2025. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, coming into its fourth.
It depends what. Yeah. This will be the fourth event. Yeah.
So for the first few years, what was the effigy, and what were some of the challenges that you guys had running the event?
There was the Plague Doctor, but that was the camp out. It was very unofficial. It was a sort of actual burn itself. And then, the first sort of proper one that we did that had about 230 people out James Hawkins' place. That was the EffiMU. Which, so it was an
and it burned great, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it was rad. And to be fair, I think probably again, dare say Terry would probably be best to talk about this because he was involved with the actual build crew and stuff like that. And his partner to me was heavily involved in the design. So do you reckon, Terry, you'd take this one again?
Yeah, I can take it. I wasn't so much involved in the build crew, but my partner, I was kind of on the peripheries of it. I think this was before I was on the board. I was bringing my own art installation. Glenn and Axel were overseeing the build. I believe we only had the one burn that year. We didn't have two, so there was no temple.
Correct.
It was a case that they had a build crew and they didn't really have anyone to design a concept. So I was talking to my partner who dabbles in art stuff and creativity, and got talking about this problem, and she was keen to put up I can't remember if she got tapped on the shoulder and said, "Hey, can you be involved or not?" And so I sort of gave her some ideas about different ways to design a concept, and she ended up modeling it, actually physically, sticks and some wire and some bits and pieces and twigs and that on our kitchen table, and used that as the concept. So when she was meeting with the crew, they were working as a collective to kind of come up with the idea and develop the processes of building and designing. So they were kind of spitballing ideas and come up with the EMU idea, which they kind of ran with. They really liked the little model. And there's a photo floating around of the giant, 3 meter high EMU with the little scale model that she's created on the ground in front of it. So they use that as a design thing. Again, some of the challenges of that. New location, new landholder.
Was it similar terrain? Was it
as the current Underlands? Probably more foresty. We kind of more in a treed area. We were on the side of the forest. Side of the paddock in the treed area. But it was similar-ish. It was a couple of 100 k's from the current location, so not too far. Would have been an hour and a half, is my guess. Different location. But yeah, again, shoestring budget. Where do we get materials? How do we fund this thing? We've got no money. I think that year we didn't have to worry about permits because it was a kind of a proof of concept that we were working with. We kept it pretty low, pretty small, private party, private event, I should call it. Ticket sales were small, cost was small. So fortunately, the crew, they managed to contact the landowner. and found some. We got old building materials that for 100-year-old houses that had been knocked down, and the building materials lying around. Because it was close to a treat area, we could go on site early and just collect a lot of wood. So I guess for the first one, it was kind of having that mix of like, we have no money, how do we do it super cheap, and then creating something that people really enjoy and having its own artistic vision within that. And I think it worked really well.
Yeah, having that kind of constraints give you a bit more creativity, I think.
Yeah,
with the budget, with the money. Yeah, and 2023, the effigy was the moth. Yeah, the Rainmoth.
Yes.
And the Nautilus temple. That was beautiful.
Yes.
Both of those were beautiful.
Yeah, so the Rainmoth was the design of, I've forgotten her name. Do you remember her name, Jamie?
Rosie? No.
I think it might have been Rosie, yeah. Or was she the one collecting the flowers?
Yeah, Rose Feely.
Yeah, so we had the concept. Someone came up with the concept for the moth. So the rain moth is an indigenous, well, not an indigenous moth. It's it is. It's an indigenous moth to Australia.
It's native, yeah.
It's native is the word I'm looking for. And we weren't sure if we were allowed to use it as a symbol, because we weren't sure if there was any indigenous relationship to the moth. I think we've tried to get the permission for the emu. We tried to get permission for the emu as well, and we were given so quickly go back to the emu. I totally forgot a massive part of the story there. So the land that James's land that was on was not far from the Grampians, and there's a Dreamtime story about the emu and the crow. I won't retell it because I'm sure I'm wrong. I'll get it wrong. Narelle might know more. I know it's not her land, but she'll probably know more about the stories than I do. But there's a whole Dreamtime story about how the land was formed, and it was this battle between the crow and the emu, and this big story. And so having that story there was kind of a bit of an inspiration. My partner was also working as a teacher at the time and was teaching some of these stories. And we created the emu, and fortunately, when we had our the elder came to do the welcome to country, he was happy enough to allow us to use the story. He told the story of the emu, which was fantastic. So again, following on for the following year, when we did the Rainmoth, we were trying to reach out to the local communities to see if we could have permission to use the moth. Turns out it wasn't a problem, because the Rainmoth is just it's a source of food. So it was nothing special to the moth. So we created this amazing structure built largely from an old shearing shed that got demolished. Again, super cheap, no money, much prefer to use recycled materials where possible. The build crew was on site early. They went down and helped demolish this shed, grabbed a whole bunch of materials. One of the crew, she works at a florist, so she's been collecting banksia leaves and flowers for months beforehand. Had these couple of trailer loads full of flowers and leaves, and packed the vest, the chest of this rain moth. Just looked absolutely stunning. Yeah.
And the
I could talk for hours about this stuff. I'm aware there's other people on this.
No, it's fascinating with the story.
Yeah.
And the temple was the Nautilus temple. Was that done by Tiffany?
Yes. So that was Tiff. That was a Tiff-led design. So Tiff is Glenn's partner, obviously. So one of the traits, again, so one of the things about creativity is I really like putting constraints on things, because you put constraints on things and it's where creativity really comes out. It's like, right, I can't do this, and this. What can I do within these boundaries? So one of the boundaries of the 22 burn was we weren't allowed to have a structure bigger than a 3x3x3 cube. So they were trying to work out, how do we make a temple that is immersive, that you can go into and feels big? So they came up with the idea, Tiff came up with the idea of the Nautilus, because it's got that spiral shape on the inside. And so they created it, again, recycled, reclaimed materials, managed to have this thing within this 3x3x3 cube. So it was within our permitted structure size. But you walked in and you went through the spiral around and around and around and around and around and around until you came to the middle. And it was, people had put their notes up in there, things. I can't remember what the little thing in the middle was, but it really captured that sense of space and discovery. And it looked phenomenal as it burnt. It was just a lovely. within the restrictions that was placed on us by our event permit, I think they did an amazing job.
Yeah, I love spirals, especially when it's oscillating like a DNA. But the best angle I saw was from the top, so you can see the whole design and the whole structure is
because it's open top. That's right.
Yeah.
And then there was again, Glenn had carved another Nautilus, which was probably 2 feet long and foot high, or whatever. Excuse me for using feet. And that was in the middle, so you can see that from the distance. In that top-down shot you're talking about, you can see the Nautilus sitting on top of the Nautilus. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I've actually designed a quiz if you guys want to play a little multiple choice quiz. You've got several options. So how Aussie or Bogan are you? And let's see how you fare. Yeah? Who wants to play?
I am the Bogan 101. So hit me with it, Steve.
How are we providing our responses in the chat, or we're just going to pipe
choice, up? So, well, I'm gonna read out the questions. The first question, let's see how Bogan or how Aussie are you? And we're all Aussies here, right? If someone who couldn't run a chook raffle, so this question 1, if someone who couldn't run a chook raffle lacks what? Okay, so the multiple choice A, is it enthusiasm, B, organizational skills, C, hard work, or D, talent?
I would say organizational skills, but I think you've left E off the end, which is a bunch of chooks.
I'm going to say A.
Enthusiasm?
I'm going to say talent.
That's D. Anyone go for hard work? If you couldn't run a chook raffle, what are you lacking?
I think that's organizational.
It's actually B, organizational skills. So you're right, Becca.
Yep. That was an obvious one. A chook raffle would be a massive headache.
Right, yes.
It'd be like wrangling cats.
It's pretty obvious. Okay, so what is question 2? What is amber fluid? Is it A, oil? Is it B, beer? Is it C, alcohol? Or is it D, urine? Amber fluid.
There's multiple answers to that. Can we have 2?
Well, it could be all, I guess, but no, it's only one. You're not Aussie enough
to know this one. Beer, right?
But is it VB?
It's beer.
I don't know, like it's beer, but then it's also piss, but then piss is also alcohol. So
yeah,
it's all the same.
Well, alcohol can be used as oil, as an engine. Yeah.
Golden amber, was that the name of it?
Amber fluid. Yeah,
amber
golden
fluid.
amber. Yes.
I've heard of it as golden amber before.
Yeah.
Liquid
Question
amber.
3. Question 3. If I'm giving the Aussie salute, what am I doing? Aussie salute. A, am I swatting away flies? Am I saluting my mates? Am I saluting a police officer? Or am I pulling a beer?
It's the flies.
I was going to go give it the bird, but I'll go with the flies.
Saluting a police officer. Yeah. No, it's actually, it's swatting flies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's known for. Australia. Too many flies. If someone offers you a cuppa and you say yes, what do you think you'll get? An Aussie cake, a punch in the nose, an Aussie hug, or a cup of tea? A cuppa.
Cup of tea.
Cup of tea.
Well, that's obvious. Yeah, that's an obvious one. Cup of tea. If someone calls you a galah, what are they saying about you? Do you want to guess it straight up? Are you a champion? Are you an idiot?
Pest.
Are you a loud
You're an idiot
person, or are you a criminal?
You're an idiot. You galah.
It's actually...
It's kind of like it's not kind of an idiot, is it?
It's both. I think it's that rude, loud idiot.
Yeah. You're right. It's
you're being obnoxious.
Yeah.
Being an idiot.
Being a galah. Yeah. All right, number 6. What does a bit dusty mean? Is it hungover, thirsty, tired, or angry? I feel a bit dusty.
Definitely hungover.
Correct. What does chokers mean? Chockers, sorry. Pronounce it wrong.
Chockies.
What does chockers mean?
Chockers. Chockers.
Full to the brim. Yeah, chockers. Full to the brim, cookies, chocolate bars, or necklaces.
Full to the brim.
Full to the brim. You're pretty Aussie there.
There's also the word chookers is a similar sounding word, and that means good luck when you're going on stage to perform. Yeah, instead of saying break a leg, here in Australia they say chookers.
Right, okay, cool. Never heard of that.
I'm aware of that.
Yeah. What does it mean to be flat out like a lizard drinking? Blackout drunk, sleeping, exhausted, or busy?
It's the morning.
Flat out like a lizard drinking.
Where did you get these from, Stevan?
Yeah, you're right. What time of the day is it when it's a sparrow's fart? Is it very early in the morning, very late at night, midday, or afternoon? What do you guys reckon? Sparrow's fart.
Morning.
Morning.
Howbogatyou.com.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's on the internet. Yeah. Okay, we've got one more, and then we'll take a break. Okay. Because I want to get to this year's Underland or last year's Underland. Talk about that. All right. What does hard yakka refer to? You guys can get this out. This is easy.
So when someone's been lazy,
hard day, hard work, awful food, or a hard helmet.
Hard work.
yakka.
It's hard work.
Yeah.
It's also the brand of an old workwear, Australian workwear brand, hard yakka shorts and hard yakka work shirt.
Is that made by King G? Was that the King G brand?
Possibly, very possibly,
I
yeah.
think King G might have been the Stubbies, but they may have done hard yakka as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but super iconic. Haven't heard the word King G for a long time. They should make a comeback along with Dunlop Volleys.
You could probably get them at best and less.
Bring them back.
Bring them back. Okay, let's take a short break. We'll be right back after these short messages from burners in the community.
Hey, it's John here. You guys would all know me as Big Red or MacGyver. Blazing Swan's my hometown burn. First burn was 2015, so nearly 10 years now. Moved over to New South Wales, met some wonderful people, but I really miss all my wonderful blazers. Just, yeah, you guys are the bomb. Hope to see you this year.
Hi, my name's Lumi. I'm from Ngunnawal country in Canberra, Australia. My first burn was burning seed 2017 with the space in between. I then became polycamperous with the Unicorn Orphanage and became a camp co-lead for a number of years before taking it on as a theme camp for third degree and also burning seed. My shout out this year goes to the Africa Burn crew of the Flying Dutchman, who I will be sailing with later this year.
Shall we talk about, you guys have got any facts and figures about the 2024 Underland? And just have a look back at some of the things that happened as well?
Yeah, I've got some of them up. They've not been officially published, so I won't give exact numbers, but I can give percentages and some stuff like that. What do you want to know?
Oh, just the like, for example, the attendance, how much was ticket price, and just a few other facts that, you know.
Yeah, so ticket prices were, good question, 280, if I remember correctly. Is that right, Terry?
Yeah, 270, I think. We had to put it up by 10% this year, so sounds about right. Oh, hang on. No, it was 300 this year. 300.
I think 2023 was 250, right?
Yeah. I don't know, something like that. Can't remember.
And it goes for 4 days.
Yeah. So that's from the Thursday to the Monday. It was the ticket price excluding GST was $272, so it would have been $300 a ticket.
Yeah, right.
We'd allocated and budgeted for 500 ticket sales. The final ticket sales was around 450. I think that was around about 25 to 30 kid tickets included in that on sales. Out of that, our art and theme camps, they got 28.5% of the takings. Site was allocated about, so for site operations, if you will, and rather than the event operations, was about 17.5%. Event operations was 8.2%. And then there's year-round and must-haves, which are, stuff and things, sanitation, security, first aid, stuff like that.
And compared to 2023, how much has it grown?
So 2023, attendance-wise, I think it was about 330.
It was 370.
Oh,
well, that was tickets.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, I think it was 370-ish, and then 450 last year.
Yeah.
Sound about right?
So, possibly. Give me a second, we'll get the other. It'll take me too long to look for 2023. But yeah, it was about 20% growth with increase in ticket sales from 270 to 300. We did make a big purchase after 2023 as well, which is the shipping container. So that was our first major asset purchase as well for storage, which was really important and great. So that's in the community asset, if you will. And yeah, this year we bought 5 generators. The whole crew kitchen's fully decked and good to go, almost as an almost fully operational sort of commercial kitchen. That's We definitely, a thing that we've been talking about moving into next year is giving a lot more focus, attention, and love, particularly, financially for Rangers Sanctuary and Centre Camp to an extent as well. Spam got quite a bit of attention in those initial 2-3 years, purely as the sort of the foundation to allow the event to actually operate. But now that that's set up and doing really well and healthy, there's going to be a lot more focus and attention going towards the other as important, during the event departments as well.
Yeah, one of the things that I thought was a good improvement was the layout of the site. Now I talked to you about this, Terry, at the time.
Yeah.
You did a great job.
Thanks. That nearly killed me.
Tell us what were some of the issues, or some of the things that you had to do differently?
Yeah, so the big issue was we thought we had more time. So we thought we had more ability to. So the layout that we set when we got so we have a 4-year permit for the site, and the layout that we submitted, the map plan for that site, we submitted to council. It got approved for the 4-year plan. So we weren't sure what scope we have to redesign the site layout within that map. So we thought we had more capacity than through negotiations, things. It's a volunteer organization, right? So things happen when they happen. It can take a bit longer than you'd like it to. And what can often happen is if someone, you plan a meeting, and if someone's sick or someone can't make it to that meeting, suddenly it's 4 weeks later, it's another month on, and you're going, oh crap, this is due now. So these things roll on a lot. We weren't really happy with the layout previously. There was a lot of issues. We didn't know the site properly. We'd never been there before. We'd done a site visit, but never had to set it up for hundreds of people to be on the paddock. So we learnt a lot. Then last year when we were talking about the layout, we were looking at what we can do for a redesign. But what happened was that we'd missed the deadlines to be able to change the map layouts. This is a process. We had to go to council to get it approved, and we weren't sure what our capacity was to actually change the complete road layout and all this sort of stuff. So we thought we had more scope, and then we were told that we can't, we don't know, it's too late to start talking about going to council and figuring out what we can do with the layout. So we were locked into the layout that we had the previous year. Then when I'm talking layout, I'm talking the key things like where the roads are, where the effigy temple is, where the main structural elements of the site are. Things happened, volunteer organizations, stuff happened. It ended up coming down to a bit of a crunch, and it was like, all right, cool. There was some miscommunications in there, and people were designing, some people who were planning layouts were not really communicated with the restriction elements that we were working within. And so they were planning a layout based on incomplete information. And so when it was getting down to the crunch, it was like, okay, we have to streamline this process, and because of positions, we actually brought that process back into the board. Some people weren't happy about that. It was centralizing power a little bit, but due to having to speed the process up, it was just easier rather than having to talk to multiple departments and slowly get approvals and everyone on board. It was just like, let's just bring it internal for the board where we can make these decisions a lot quicker. So we did that. Had to look at how we could shuffle things around to try to open up the layout and actually bring the community together to actually interact with each other. I ended up many hours in front of Miro. Fortunately, I have a park across the road from my house, so there were many times after work I was out pacing around the park trying to understand what 20 meters is, what 100 meters is, how big a campsite is, how many people you'd fit in this location there. So it was a bit of a
park as a simulation.
I was using a park. I was visualizing it in the park. Yeah, it's like, cool. Okay, cool. Because I knew how wide the road was, and I knew that we were limited. Like the road was here and the road was there, and there's this gap between the road. And do we use that for camping, or do we use that for art, or how do we use these spaces? So I was just sort of trying to replicate the map layout on the park across the road as I'm pacing this thing out. I guess the key thing that we were trying to do, so we end up having like what we termed a causeway or a boulevard, I think was Toby's phrase. We actually ended up moving the camps completely from where they were the previous year and having
The
the
general
central
camping.
the general camping as well, but that central corridor that we had this year, that was all camping last year. So
yes,
we tried, because when what I was saying before about the limitations on creativity can make things more creative. We knew that we didn't know how many tickets we were going to sell. We had no idea if we were going to have 300 tickets sold or 700 tickets sold. So it's really hard to design a layout on it's like, hey, 700 people, it's a very different layout to 300 people. So not knowing that, it was really difficult to come up with a design concept that allowed growth, but allowed the community to stay close enough together that it felt close and community oriented. So met with Nidhi from Sin City, who used to run the theme camp layouts at Burning Seed. Had a couple of powwow sessions with him, try to get an understanding of that. And we had, I think we floated very quickly floated four different design concepts that we approached to the board. And they would about scaling the event, is it 300 people, is it 400, 600, 700 people? And we ended up working again in my position on the board. I oversee the theme camps at Artery, so I was kind of in this position where I knew some of the things that were happening and could actually kind of lay out theme camps and artists together and how they would interact with each other. But the boulevard thing that we worked, so we split the site in two and had this big, long, wide boulevard thing, which we ended up putting art installations on. And the idea there was to try to get people to come together to actually bring the art in the middle, but also have a space that you could showcase the art on the paddock and allow that to be, because you've got to have destination art. People have to be able to go somewhere and discover art. So you can't have everything right out the front of your campsite. It kind of becomes boring then. You had to have the things where like you go as a group and you go over and see something and hang out and experience that art. But you also had to have art in around everyone so you could interact with it as well quite a lot. So there was a lot of competing conflicts about how we lay out the site. We also changed things a little bit with the theme camps, moved it around. Again, issues with sound and noise problems that we were kind of only figuring out as we went, which way sound camps could face, what neighbours we had to be aware of, and noise problems, all of these sort of things. It was really happening fast. But yeah, from the feedback we got from everyone, actually having Centre Camp right in the middle, having a bit of a Centre Camp Rangers, Sanctuary, Ops, all kind of in a spot in the middle, kind of became a hub of the event. And then having the camps around, again, we ended up kind of splitting a little bit from the old way of doing it. And I ended up placing some non-camps who were not theme camps, but they were kind of got in and it's like, hey, you're doing something, let's bring you on here. And then they kind of bought their thing and it worked really well. It was a mess. It was difficult and stressful, but it paid off. And I think it was really, really good. And the feedback we got from a lot of people, it was fantastic.
Yeah, well, for 2025, Underland will have a theme for the first time. That'll help in a way to also structure the layout and maybe play around. No?
No. So the we have the map layout needs to be in by, we need to finalize any significant redesigns of the map needs to be in by March. So we're talking 9 months before the event. So we've got 2 months of a little bit of back and forth. If we're going to move road layouts, it needs to be done now. And there will be some minor road layouts change, a bit of the site change. The theme of it isn't going to impact on the broad layout. Because again, the layout's more of a every year it's not going to change massively from year to year. It might here and there, but it won't be influenced by the theme.
Let's talk about the theme. The theme is pop for 2025. How did it become about? What was the idea behind this? I do like it how it's just one word, pop, and it is poppy.
Yep.
Yeah. So the pop theme, themes have been talked about since, well, really 3-4 years ago. But just because we always want to do a proper community engagement about it. But with time constraints, we sort of just kind of jumped the gun a bit this year, and it was actually Marty who suggested the theme for this coming year, pop. Now, one of the things about a theme is getting it out, essentially as soon as possible, so that theme camps and artists can incorporate it, if they so choose, into what they're going to be doing for the coming year, the coming burn. Because of that, and doing a community engagement process would take a sort of around about 2-3 months. It wasn't going to happen until perhaps this time of the year. So we thought, just for this 1 year, the first year we'll do a theme. We decided just to choose it at the board level. I had to do it. It was necessary for time flow. It will be a community engagement process, moving forward. Even the idea of like centre camp this coming year, 2025, there could be like a sort of workshop to get the theme for 2026 going. So yeah, Marty suggested pop as an all-round, easily applicable across many mediums and interpretations as a theme. Does it mean pop in terms of colour or?
I think it's just gone off again.
For fuck's sake, sorry. It's a fucking phone keep going standby. So Marty went for the pop theme. We at the board agreed, yep, let's do it this year. And yeah, moving forward, it will absolutely be a community engaged process for sure. But yeah, it's a nice, good, broad, widely interpreted theme. Yeah. And that's how we kind of got to it this year.
Yeah,
well, I love it.
One of the problems with themes is you've got members in the community that think that a theme isn't needed. Some people are quite averse to having a theme at the event. They actually don't think there should be. And then some people love themes. We had many discussions on the board about, do we theme it? Because some people on the board were passionate, like, no, we should not have a theme. And then some people were like, hey, but people are asking us, what's the theme? So as the discussions went on, it's like, well, some people love themes. And again, it's that put in some restrictions about what things is, and the creativity really does thrive. And so the themes aren't there for the large scale artists, because anyone who's doing large art, they're probably thinking about that 12, 24 months out. They're building a concept in their mind about what they want to build, and they're not going to be able to theme it, because if you're doing something that's going to take 18 months to build, you're not going to know the theme until 9 to 12 months before the next event. So the theme really is for, we thought, we heard stories that anecdotes that some people love themes, look forward to themes, really gets excited. And you've got people out there who can't do big art. They don't, for some capacity reason, time, money, work, family life, they can't get involved in that level, but they do want to create. And we're about creating, and that idea that keep inventing, keep creating, keep that momentum going. So by having a change in the theme, coming up with a theme, we want to give the idea that people can, like the people that do thrive within those, and they just go, hey, this is a new theme. How can I interpret this? How can I adjust my costume? How can I make some little things from my campsite? How can I contribute to the event? How can I be part of the event? It gives them this bit of direction. And so we had this discussion a lot, and obviously we don't want to be mandating it from a board down. We do have a plan to have we will develop a process for the next event where we will get ideas, and I can't remember if we decide it at the event, at Summer Camp, during the event or what, but to do that, because it's going to take at least a 12-month process, we missed the opportunity to do it at the recent event. So we just had to come up with a theme. And Marty proposed pop. Everyone kind of liked it, and it was like, look, it's broad enough that it works really well. Yeah. So there was a lot of discussion. That lot for this thing as small as a theme, there was a lot of discussion at the board level about it.
Yeah, there's people that love it, and there's people that don't really care much about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
totally. And like the people that don't care about it, it's not like
It's not for them.
It's not really. It's not about them. Exactly.
It's not important.
For
Yeah.
them. It's about, exactly. So it's not really any off their back or off their nose or whatever. If we do have a theme, and of course it's a big thing for quite a lot of people in the community. And so yeah, it is a great way to engage and to let people's imagination go and run wild. And yeah, and again, big things we've touched upon. It gives artistic direction for some artists as well, which is for some people, some artists, artistic process. It really helps with them to have an idea of direction because of the theme.
Yeah. Let's talk about. So I had the chance to meet Mick and Fiona last year for the first time, and I got to know them better in 2024. The site that Underland is being hosted in, that's their property, so it's a private property. What can you tell us about how you built this relationship with the people at Paradise or Navier, and also with landowners?
Yeah, I'll take this one. I was really the forefront of that whole aspect and process, if you will, from not day dot, but leading on from James Hawkins and being there, and how that sort of unfortunately didn't carry on, and then the concerted effort at the board level to really do the site search process, and then leading on from that when we actually had the leads. I did a lot of legwork and traveling to go to 3 sites in total across Victoria. One of them was unsuitable out in Gippsland. The other one that we looked at that was a definite possibility was down in Narelle, which is southwest near the coast. And then, of course, Paradise, which is where we're at Mick and Fees. And yeah, so that's Mick's little working farm, 150 acres. Yeah, look, I guess when you go and meet people, there's really, you want to suss out what they're looking for. And the main thing is financial, more often than not. But for some people, it can be more financial than others. So, for example, Mick, he is looking for passive income. He had a pretty gnarly accident where he got his foot caught in a hopper. His foot got torn off and then had to get stitched back on. And because of that, he's sort of partially physically disabled with his foot. He's nowhere near as mobile, and therefore being on a working farm, it's not as much of an option for him anymore. So he was looking to diversify his income and gain passive income by the use of the land and the property that he's holding. But then conversely, the folks down in Narelle, they've got a much bigger farm. They come from a bigger farming family, thousands of acres, multiple properties, and they're just straight up capitalists, and we're very open about it.
It's on standby again, I think.
Sorry,
that's okay.
So yeah, down in Narelle, they are, right into the money. That's all they're interested in. And because of that, they said they didn't care what we did. They were not worried at all about our, wonderfully flamboyant, diverse Burns, festival event that we put on. Whereas with Mick, and Fee, it was a bit more. It was much closer. It was much more personal in that regard, and it took a lot of time. Like, I think I've no idea how many times I went out to chat to Mick initially, but then did community engagements with various people from the local town in the VAR. At one point there was about 25 locals at Mick's property. Myself and a few others were doing a presentation and talking, selling what we do, because really that's what it is. Initially, you're trying to convince people to let you on their property to have a festival. Fundamentally, that's how they see it. Now, festivals, by and large, when you go to rural Australia, is a pretty dirty thing. It tends to have quite a bitter taste in people's mouth. They have ideas of like Pitch Festival, of these big festivals, a lot of the things that came up, like Fuck Fest, Drug Fest, all that kind of stuff. The typical views of commercial festivals, which is not at all what we do. So really, it was convincing and explaining and convincing the locals that that's not what we do. Giving examples, a big selling point was like having the Rangers team, having their own, in-house sort of first responder, PM, participant care crew, and sanctuary for, mental health care and well-being. And also, explaining that we are a professional outfit. It will be permitted. We will have security. We will have contracted first aiders. We have emergency evacuation plans, fire management plans, and slowly after, multiple meetings and talking about it, as well as, the big sort of soft skills and just actually getting onto the level with the people, and that real interpersonal connection, and being on a level with them and not being too overbearing, and speaking with them in ways that they can relate to is really important. And it's something I'm kind of natural at anyway, so I find it pretty easy. But yeah, that's really at the core of it. If say if anybody was perhaps listening to this and they're thinking about going out and doing a burn, like have someone who has those skills to be able to connect with a very wide range and diverse people, but also be ready to face the conservative country folk that are reserved, and putting on like for example, like as a guy putting on a sparkly top could be, whoa, that's a bit wild and far out there. With what we do as a community, that's sort of just kind of scratching the surface, really. But again, easing them into it, you got to really just sort of take your time and subtly talk to them and drop bits about, partial nudity, but then big things about obviously consent and the principles and all this kind of stuff. Another big selling point is leave no trace. I mean, that was actually, to be fair, with it being a sort of working farm, leave no trace is huge. And that's always the first real post-event thing that the people, the rural folks really notice and think, wow, you actually did do what you're going to say. It's like, yeah, we probably cleaned up and took away more than was actually there at the start. So yeah, it can be difficult. You got to be ready to face like really hard, tough questions. I got grilled by Mick's sister, Leanne, and her partner about drugs, and they hammered me for about 10 minutes. And yeah, and they were saying, what's our drug policy? Now we have a loose drug policy. We didn't actually have an official sort of, I guess, operational manual or a document for handling that quite yet. But I've worked in a lot of festivals, so I was kind of managed to wing it. And it was really interesting because, to use an example, like, what would you do if you seen someone on the dance floor and they popped a pill? Like, what would you do? Would you would you eject them? Would you evict them? Blah, blah. And I was like, no, you can't do that. Like, first of all, we don't know what it is they've taken. You can't just assume that, number one. And number two, you just got to play it safe. You maybe speak to the rangers. You go and check with the person, see if they're all right, if they're looking a bit worse for wear. And there's ways to like soft handle it rather than the hard line, but they were pretty keen on the hard line. And what was interesting as well is that the local copper, Dehan, was at this meeting as well. And after about 10 minutes of this grilling, she piped up and said that she supported everything that myself and a couple others had said. And also made it clear and said that it is not safe, nor would it be at all. The line to go is to kick people out if they had were intoxicated or had been seen to be, partaking in drugs and the cops got involved. That was something she said, is that you do not kick them off site because then they become a danger to others as well. So it was really interesting facing those kind of lines of questioning. But yeah, that's the nature of it. You've got to be sort of really, really got to understand what you're doing, what it is that you're doing, and have confidence and belief in what you're doing, so that when they do ask the hard questions, you can answer them with truth and honesty.
Okay, yeah. So that's the way that was my interaction with Mick and Fiona as well. They're lovely people, very open-minded, very open-hearted as well. And the thing that did sell it to us, sell it to him, was the community that we bought for him to experience, and not just about leaving that trace, but also a positive trace. With the site, with the ecology of the land impact, do we have any examples or any studies about that, of our impact? It's probably early days.
Yeah, nothing concrete or procedural wise or official yet, but we definitely checked in year on the Paradise. Again, myself and a couple others, Pierre, who's our Leave No Trace leads, we went and checked the burn scars and looked at the vegetation that was regrowing as well on the burn scars and checking that out. We also ended up helping out and getting rid of Bathurst bramble, which is an invasive, nasty species that had been kicking about on the site as well. So loosely, we've done some, I guess, reconnaissance in that regard. We don't have anything official capacity-wise yet. I mean, but again, with these kind of things, it's it's sort of at the board level, it's basically essentially waiting to see if anybody steps up and actually takes the reins and takes the lead to move forward and create the structure for something like that to happen, because it would be great. But again, also because it is a working farm, the ground itself doesn't see a lot of usage, if you will. There's often sheep or cattle grazing. There's really crops anymore. But yeah, I think it would be great to have a much keener eye go over the land to really document the species of flora that's there, and take note. And there could be, some really rare or potentially endangered flora in amongst the trees and stuff like that the common eye like myself has no idea about. So yeah, it really would be great to know more about that. And like regeneration wise, there's been again some loose conversations with Mick about potential tree planting. He's a little bit stubborn about it. I think it's because he really sort of holds on dearly to the land that he's holding. And he has planted a lot of trees up on the hills. I think he said he's planted about maybe 40,000 trees over the past decade or so up there. So yeah, but even going beyond just, mixed property, there's also the broader local community of Navarre. And again, it's something I would really like to see, again, a more engagement to engage with the local community. And we could do more with them, perhaps in line with helping out with the land and stuff like that in the local town.
Yeah, I was having a chat with Pia about that this last year, and we're working on a leave no trace model, and that works for some lands, but a lot of the lands that we use, they're farmland, they're paddocks. They're not like not like the playa in the States. It's completely different. And I mean, I'm sure there are, like, if you look at mutoids spaced out in South Australia, out the back there, I don't know if they're still running that every 4-year event. It's a desert. It really is a desert. It's a different sort of land. We're on farming paddocks. Pia was saying that if we work on a leave no trace, we're actually selling ourselves short. We actually have the capacity to leave a positive trace. I mean, there's invasive plant species, there's serrated tussock, there's all these things that are on the paddock that we can actually look at. Like, we're there for a time, we have a whole bunch of manpower, we can change this, we can do that, we can try like in small doses. A lot of the firewood we got this year was fallen trees and branches, so clearing that for the potential fires, so going through that process is so the leave no trace it's a difficult one, because there is that ethos, and it's a fantastic ethos to work with, and at minimum we should be leaving no trace if possible, and we can work out a way to do it. Maybe the future goal is to try to work out some way of actually improving the land that we get gifted with each year. But yeah, I mean, it's a food for thought thing. I'm not quite sure how it would happen, but yeah.
I think what I did notice were the cows were pretty happy, I think. And you know what the reason was that? The why they were happy? I think that the sound curfew made a big difference. Like, all the noise was shut off at 3 o'clock at least? Maybe even earlier?
It changed throughout the event.
Yeah. So what's the thinking behind that? Because we all love our doof music.
Permits. Largely, yeah. It was permits. Largely, it was a local community that doesn't know us, and we didn't know how far away we were from places. So, I mean, the other thing is we're like, organizers. We're not in our 20s anymore. Having a bit of a wedge in the middle of like not having that bass rattling my caravan all night is kind of a nice thing.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
like it, but there are people out there that also want that kind of 24-hour party atmosphere, which is not,
It honestly, it was a permit thing, and it will be again this year. I think there's some element of, do we restrict it? Do we not? It is an ongoing conversation. I think there's something about, like, we shouldn't be putting restriction on it. Some of those magic moments at 9 a.m. the following day that, some people wake up
breakfast radio.
Breakfast radio. Well, I mean, not even breakfast radio. More of a, you rock up at somewhere that people have been going all night, and you come out fresh, or the opposite way around. There's some really magic moments at various times throughout the day. But yes, I mean, the sound is purely about our permits. We're very strict on that, because we know if we're going to get hit and we're going to get council coming down on us or a complaining neighbour, it's because they can hear the bass at 4 a.m. and they haven't been able to sleep. So that's largely been it.
Again, like,
Yeah.
even on that note, it could be something that seems kind of look to be a more innovative in terms of creating a space that soaks up and absorbs the sound a bit more in terms of the spaces that they're playing sound in, perhaps not being open air, or, you know, put some sort of sound barriers in a creative way around their dance floor, for example. You know, there's we can sort of work on that while we do sound testing as well.
But it's also that we are new to this. We're new to the location. We don't know what our sound levels are. So now we have 2 years of data. We have a contracting sound engineer that comes out and will measure those levels and implement systems that will ping us when noise levels get peaked. And I don't think it was last year. I think it was the year before. So 23. We had sound levels were tripped at one of the audio monitoring stations. And in the report write-up, the engineer just goes, "Oh, look, okay, this spiked above this level." So he went in and listened to it because there's a recording that he's got, and it's like, "Oh, okay, what tripped this? What triggered it?" And he listened to the audio recording, and it was the birds. It was like 7 in the morning, and the kookaburras, the cockatoos or something, that were screaming and yelling, and they were the ones that tripped the the acoustic levels, not us. But I think as we develop and understand more about how noise travels, how, you know, councils are used to festivals where there is a main stage, where they have a $50,000 sound system hired for 3 days, and you know these sound levels carry. We're not that. Our biggest sound system someone brings in the back of his car. So it's as we understand more about how noise travels, where the issues are, we can tailor the map to point, okay, sound camps have to point this way, because that's, you know, for reasons, and and hopefully we can get to a point that, you know, we don't get complaints, so we can open it up, and we, you know, there's less restrictions and people can kind of figure out their own way of being.
Now, there has been questions about Underland being a regional status burn. Is there any activities in trying to get it as a regional? Or how are you guys faring traveling with this event?
Yeah, look, it's discussed on and off over the past few years. We don't feel a great desire or need to do it. People who have been involved in other burns, and, you know, particularly Shay, who's been involved in the big burn, really, other than, I guess, the statement that we're a burn, like, support from the big burns little to not coming at all. And this is coming from experience from people who have set up regional burns, so that is not a thing that's of interest. So really, it just seems to be about the actual, I guess, the official stamp. This is just my personal opinion at the moment as well. Like, that's all I've really sort of seen and heard as to why we would go for it. But also, I mean, that would just be the burn. Like, as an organisation, we're not a burn org. We're a community arts organisation. We're not locked into that at all, and we're pretty clear on that. So as an organisation, like, we are not singularly just a burn organisation. We are a community arts organisation. That's the direction that we're going at the org level. So yeah, but in terms of the burn regional status, we've yet to hear some real solid justification and rationale other than, cool, thumbs up, you get the official stamp that you're a burn.
Plus, there's quite a bit of administration overheads that comes with the regional status, the afterburn reports. You've got to do it in a certain way with a certain thing. You've got to submit those. So particularly at a small, young event that we are, someone has to write those. Someone, I mean, we're trying to be as transparent as we can with the community, but someone has to write those reports. And at the moment, everyone that's involved is wearing multiple hats. So to ask someone to go and write a 100-page document, I don't know how long they are or whatever, but to actually go through and work with all the departments to do that, it's a big overhead, big ask. So it's we haven't locked ourselves out from not being a regional, not being an official regional, but at the moment it was like the benefits of being one don't outweigh the requirements of the time and the effort to actually do it. And if someone, again, if there's some really passionate people that's like, no, we have to do it, we'd love to have a chat with them to figure out if it's worth it, and who's going to do it.
I just wanted to ask you, Terry, just quickly, have you still got that Logan's red cup?
We had.
We'll make a feature again.
Well,
And
when was that? That was
looking
20. That was 23. So that
perfect for the
we
pop
didn't
thing.
have the shipping container.
Right.
We didn't have the shipping container, so that ended up back at one of the spam crews' country property, and we didn't end up storing it properly. So we rolled it out, and it's not synthetic, right? So it's all natural things. We unrolled it, and it's like, oh, we can't use this. So it did. We tried to pull it out and have Logi's red carpet.
Well, perfect for the pop thing.
Yeah, but no, it has retired.
Well, thanks very much, guys, for coming together and having a chat about Common Arts Victoria, Underland. So the dates, the important dates for Underland this year is 25th of September to 28th, is it, or 29th? That's the Underland event for this year.
Yeah, AFL Grand Final weekend. That's the placement holder for the time being. It may change if it doesn't extenuating circumstances, but yeah, we're going for the AFL Grand Final weekend again at the end of September.
The main issue being that I don't think the AFL's released their schedule. So when they do, because it's 90% going to be on that weekend, right?
Traditionally,
but,
yes.
If for some other reason, traditionally, but it can change for various reasons. When they release their event, their game schedule, we'll know, and it'll be on the same weekend as grand final.
Yeah, cool.
But likely going to be that same weekend.
Cool. And the website is
commonarts.org.au.
Yeah, there's not a heap on there at the moment. We had to set that up as a placeholder for organisational reasons, and we needed the website. So we've got the Common Arts Victoria website. We are in talks to hopefully we can start building an Underland. We own the domain names for Underland. We are hoping if we can get the volunteers to together that we can have an Underland website. Yeah, but at the moment it's Common Arts Victoria. We have Facebook. Beck, do you want to take over? You're involved in our Commons team and our community engagement team. You probably know more about this than we do.
Promote yourself.
Well, if I got the mic, I might pipe up. So, yeah, Marty's looking after the Instagram and social media. That's a comms function, not a community engagement function. But I believe it is in the works. He put it up on the Slack channel for us to all have a look at, and I think he's just waiting for some feedback. I don't think it's live yet. Yeah, cool.
Cool. And you also have this platform as well if you want to promote anything in an audio format. I know you guys have a info session, another part 2 or something for the effigy build and temple build.
Yeah, that hasn't been confirmed yet. We're still in the process of Christmas, right? Terrible time of year to try to organise things. Organise the application submissions for effigy temple. Hoping to have another info session. We don't have a date for that, unfortunately.
Well, I was at the last one. I took a few notes, so I'll be looking forward to chatting to Jimbo and Aruna about it as well, and who else wants to join in. Thanks very much, guys, for coming onto this podcast. Any other thing you want to plug? Or Terry, you're going to Kiwiburn. Have fun.
Yeah. So Kiwiburn has Kiwiburn's running an initiative. I don't know if it's this year first time. They've reached out to multiple burns around the local area and are inviting people to specific departments and that to come along. The deal is I believe that Ninja, one of our ranger leads, is also going, and a few other departments. I believe there's some of the Tasmanian guys have been invited. They've started their first burn last year. Blazing Swan and whatever. The idea is that we do a skill share. We can go there. We can share knowledge.
I love this initiative.
So, yeah. So it's really good. We'll be able to, because we had a number of the Kiwiburn guys at Underland last year. And they've been running through 15 years or 20 years or something, and learning how they do things, getting inspiration from how other people run events, burns, and bringing those things back. So I'm really keen on seeing how they do a lot of the art, how they organize. My partner Danae, she was the one that was invited primarily, as she's overseeing artery. So just sharing that knowledge about how they run artery and how they work with the artists. I'm keen on seeing I believe they've done they're jigging how they do Center Camp over there. They've renamed it as a Center Hub, I believe, something like that. I'm keen to see how they operate, meet some people and get some ideas. We've already got a whole bunch of info from them about running some back-end data with Airtable. So yeah, looking forward to that. It'll be an interesting experience.
Yes, love to hear your feedback and your report from it. And that's the next people that we're trying to get is the Kiwi burners. Probably, I think they're quite busy at the moment, so probably afterwards when they...
Yeah, their event's in 2 weeks, right? So
22nd of January, yes.
I guess the things that I will add on that is like probably the two things I would love to talk about, like the art, obviously. We will be releasing artery applications. We're going to do the larger art grants. The information will probably be out in around March. We're trying to do it early enough that big, large art grants have at least 6 months build time for their processes. We've also got the Ignition Grants, which is the initiative there. We're moving away from specifically funding theme camps and allowing anyone that attends at least the second event to apply to do things that aren't art, that are community building, that are creative, that don't fall under the traditional umbrella of art installation. So we don't have a date for that opening yet, but again, it'll probably be roughly 6 months in advance or a bit less with the Ignition Grants. So we'll be putting information about exactly when they'll open in the next couple of months and how to get involved and funding requirements for those. So keep tuned.
Okay, well, thanks, guys.
So I was going to say thanks very much for having me, mate. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for the opportunity, Stevan. And PY, thanks for running it.
Well, welcome to the debriefing segment of this episode. Since you did really well in the Bogan quiz, we thought we might get you back on as punishment or as a reward.
Fabulous.
For more mic time. That's what you wanted. What else should we talk about? Well, there were a few things that I forgot to mention or forgot to ask. Some things like how many virgin burners there were, like how many first timers, breakdown in numbers, how many people traveled from Sydney. I think there was a bunch of us.
Yeah, I got no idea. We don't really poll people. Maybe we should when we do the ticket registration thing. You know, like where are you coming from? You know, it's pretty basic the ticket purchasing situation, but there could be some merit in capturing that data. But again, it's what are we going to do with it? So yeah.
For example, how many like country Victorians there were from Ballarat or was it Bendigo, things like that? Well, maybe even how many Teslas on the paddock. I spotted about 3 Teslas.
Did you?
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
It's
and
the new
BYDs.
option of getting to the bend. Yeah.
Yeah. No, well, I can't answer that question. We don't track that information as far as I'm aware, but this is the first time I've been on the board, so I'll probably have a bit more visibility of that stuff this year round. But yeah, there was, last year, well, the year before last, there was certainly a lot of locals that were there. I know because they came to my camp and set themselves up and made themselves very comfortable, which was nice. They also brought like a charcuterie board and some booze. That was nice. But this year
Where were they from?
They were locals. They were friends with Mick and Fee. And there was a large group. There was like 12 of them, older, but yeah, had never been to anything like that before. And it was really nice to just talk them through it. Like, it's not just a doof. It's not just a sex fest. It's not just, people getting loose in a paddock. It's not like a BNS ball. It's like so much more than that. It was really cool to talk them through the ethos and why we do what we do, why we put ourselves through this, extended camping situation with radical self-reliance and no creature comforts, really. It was good. Some of them, I think, took the Kool-Aid and got on board. So I didn't see them this year. I didn't see them in 24 though. I was more really focused on Centre Camp, and I just hung out at Centre Camp the whole time, really. So I didn't really get to explore who else was there.
And this year, did you meet many first-time burners?
Not really. The ones that came through Centre Camp were pretty au fait with the whole thing. I'm not sure that there are that many first-time burners that come, given that it is still pretty underground and niche. You have to kind of know people who know people to A, find out about it, and B, feel comfortable to come along. It can be quite intimidating to rock up to something if you don't know anyone, and it can be pretty cliquey. So unless you've signed up for a shift or two, it can be hard. In saying that, though, one of the guys that did Centre Camp, it was his first time burn, but he's been going to festivals for a long time and already had a network of people that were there. And he did the lighting for Centre Camp, which was great. So shout out to Dan if you're listening. Thank you. Yeah.
What else you want to mention?
This year was great to get Centre Camp off the ground. We had a great stretch tent and we had rugs and heaps of cushions. We had so many cushions, it was crazy. Like my Jeep was absolutely jammed packed when I picked them up from the person who gave them to us. And then like I couldn't even get me in the car. It was pretty funny. And what else? We had a great team of volunteers. Again, first time that we've done it at Underland and looking forward to expanding that in future. So we're really hoping to get a little bit of a jam tent happening in there, people bringing their own instruments and turning it into more of like a brackets and jam kind of place where people might want to do stand-up comedy or present some spoken word poetry or, you know, do some weird improvised dance or theatre thing or whatever. Bust out some rock and roll classics. But yeah, just providing an alternative space to the other more, dance floor heavy spaces on the paddock. That's a really big focus for Centre Camp, that it's not the same as the other places, because there's plenty of places to, dance the night away. Not so many places to kick back and, listen to someone talking shit on the microphone like this. Yeah, I think breakfast radio went quite well. That was an interesting first time experience, certainly for me, and I'm not sure if Danae and Terry had done that before, but I think it worked quite well. What do you think? You were there?
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to meet everyone in the early hours in the morning, when people were just waking up from yesterday's festivities. We had some people saying, well, that was a bit noisy because the sound levels traveled to their camp, like how it is with the paddock. It was a bit undulating up and down the hills. So that was interesting. They actually heard us, but they enjoyed the banter. They enjoyed the bullshitness of breakfast radio. Yeah. And the information that we provided as well. So when we weren't just talking shit, we were also talking about, what's the weather like today and if we're going to have a burn actually or not. And what's happening. And
make sure you don't miss out on your sausage sizzle.
Yeah, it's community service radio.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And funny. I liked dragging people in who were walking past. I thought that was really cute to just grab people as they were, doing the walk of shame or the walk of pride, whichever one you want to call it. What are you doing? Where have you been? How's your morning? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's a pity we didn't record it because I think we could have got a lot of benefit out of listening to that again, to see what worked and what really didn't work. But anyway,
that's something to think about for next year. Yeah.
Well, by the time we get there, we'll be total pros, having done this a couple of times. Well,
that's right. Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that I actually want to do is foster kind of a community of talkers, of conversationalists. Usually it's just small talk, but there's room out there to really connect.
For sure. If there's nothing that burners like more than is talk about burning and burning culture, we absolutely love it, right?
Yeah.
Just try to get us to shut up about it.
Especially around the burn barrels, right? Just throw more logs in.
That's it.
No one's going to bed. Yeah.
I was just going to say, it just takes forever to put out a burn barrel. I'd love someone to come up with like an equation or a metric to determine how much water it takes to extinguish a burn barrel to the acceptable level of extinguishment or whatever the word is. Because
would it help if...
I must have put 40 litres on the one at Centre Camp on that last night. So this is such a waste of water. But anyway,
would it help if we bring like a scale? Would it help if we bring like a scale to measure the log, the weightness, the density of the log, and that'll give us a rough estimate of timing?
There must be some sort of science behind it.
Yeah.
Like if there's that much coals, you're going to need that much water.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. So we did have some remote recording issues, and I just want to apologize again for that. And we're still testing out the tech in real time too. So, are there any other apologies you want to make, Becca?
Apologies?
Yeah, anything. I mean, I've got one. I mean, I guess I'm going to preempt this apology right now. I'm going to apologize for all the terrible Gen X jokes and references that we might drop. Bring back the Dunlop volleys and stuff like that. I mean, we're probably obscuring our younger listeners by dropping all these Gen X references and jokes. So, yeah, apologies for that.
I have no shame. I have no shame.
Gen Z, sorry, the Gen Z.
For the age that I am.
Yeah, no shame at all. But yeah.
Why have you had some feedback that we were making far too many older people jokes?
No, but just in case we might tune these people out. There's Gen Z out. They're not sure what's
Nah, man,
dumb follies.
Gen Z loves the 90s. Absolutely loves the 90s. So any reference to the 90s, I think they'll just slap that up. It's like when we were in the 90s, we loved the 70s, and anything to do with the 70s.
And the 60s, yeah. Anything the 60s was just magical. Yeah.
Exactly, right? Like, so there's that sense of nostalgia for us, but the sense of, coolness for the younger folk, potentially. Like, I went to the town this year. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that event. Do you know the town? Yeah, so that's
yes, I do. Yes, yeah.
It's a little bit like a burn in that you participate. Things aren't just you just don't go along and watch a band. There are lots of interactive activities, and the theme this year was in December of 2024 was the 90s, and so everybody dressed in 90s fashion, and all the bands were doing cover songs from 90s bands, so Rage Against the Machine and lots of trip hop and Massive Attack and the Prodigy, etc., etc. A lot of 90s hip hop was so good.
All the music that we grew up with.
Oh, absolutely, it was so good. And so, like, those of us who are of a certain vintage were all kicking back in our original threads. And then there were kids there that weren't even born yet and who were experiencing the 90s for the first time. So it was really an interesting clash, which worked. It was really cool. Yeah. Anyway, we're not here to talk about the town, but I would plug that as an event to go to if people are interested, because it was really cool. It's a beautiful spot as well.
Well, I think this episode is going to go to the pool room anyway. It was a good episode. What did you think? Yeah, what was discussed?
Probably some of the answers were a little bit long-winded, and it did seem to be a bit of repetition on some of the things we spoke about. And that's all right. Just people get excited, but it might not be that interesting for the listener. And you don't have to include this in the recording either. Just you asking me. It would have been great to hear a bit more from Narelle about her experiences.
Yeah, she had some disconnection problems. We'll definitely like to get her back on and talk about her other passions.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and Jamie's always got a good story to tell, as does Terry.
Yeah, I enjoyed his talk about building relationships with the townsfolks and having that kind of approval, I guess, from the people that is hosting us, sort of thing, like allowing us to experiment, allowing us to continue this kind of community space. So that was interesting, and it also makes you feel a bit more confident in terms of investing your time and money into a community or an organisation. So
it's really important that the local community embrace Underland in much the same way that some of those other regional Victorian towns embrace the doofs that come to them. So you've got Lexton and Rainbow. That was a really big part of their economic growth for the area, and the same with Donald. They have Esoteric. 10,000 people come through that town to go to that festival. That's a lot of people, and that's a lot of money, and a lot of impact on local infrastructure too. So that's something. And the same thing with the Big Burn. 80,000 people go through those tiny little towns on the edge of the Black Rock Desert there, and it can really,
and also Reno.
Exactly, and I don't know if you follow some of the groups online, but the chatter that comes up before the event of all the trash that gets left along the highway and the mess that gets left in those little towns and people just doing the wrong thing when they leave. I think it's really important that we think about the impact of our partying on the local folk and the local environment. I think it's really important, and maybe something that we don't do as well. But Underland is quite small, so we have definitely got room to grow, and lots of opportunities to educate and inform our members about doing the right thing.
Yeah, I think that the good burner community does that. It's necessary. It's crucial. It's crucial to have that rapport with the local people.
100%.
Would you like to tell us more about Scorched Nuts? I want to hear a little review.
Yeah,
we didn't get a chance. You just skimmed over it. So
yeah, it's always tricky to know how much detail to go into in an intro piece. Look, Scorched Nuts was my first burn, and it was a crazy idea that I had to just go and throw myself in the deep end in a tri-state regional burn, a small one at that, so 600 people, and I knew nobody. So yeah, but there's a challenge that I presented to myself, and I really enjoyed it. I reached out to theme camps beforehand and said, hey, look, I'm coming from Australia. I don't know anybody. Can I join a camp? And, they welcomed me with open arms. And I signed up and did some shifts as a greeter.
How big was the gathering? How big was the burn?
600 people, so not very big. And it was on a mountain top, which has been raised by it had been used for mining in the past. So all the trees along the top there had been all chopped down, and it's used for events like this all the time. It's quite tricky to get to. It's kind of hard to find on the map. It's definitely not it's not heavily signposted or anything like that. But it is a legitimate piece of land that can be used for these types of events. It was really hot, I think it was in May. And so in the Midwest, that's pretty stinking hot and humid, and at night time it was still pretty warm. Loads of mosquitoes. The art was really cool. As I think I mentioned earlier, that they had the effigy was in the shape of a squirrel sitting on some acorns. And once that had burnt down, then these huge explosions of fireworks went off, much like the big burn. We don't do that here. We don't have the firecrackers that go off after the burn collapses, like the build collapses.
Do they still do it at Blazing Swan though?
The fireworks.
With the fireworks?
I actually can't comment because the last time I was not in a state to. I couldn't comment. I don't remember. But yeah, the Blazing Swan effigies are amazing as well. But yeah, look, I would recommend anyone who's interested to explore burn culture around the world, go to a regional. And burners are an amazing community worldwide that you can tap into and say, hey, I'm coming. And, real burners will welcome you. They'll want to hear about your experiences.
So you signed up for volunteering?
Yeah, I signed up as a greeter and ended up meeting a few people that way. I also ended up camping with the Leave No Trace crew, which was great, and met rangers and struck up a really strong friendship with a couple of those, and that was really helpful just to get the whole idea of what rangering is all about. What was I going to say? Yeah, one of the things that a veteran burner said to me at that event was it's really nice to have someone new coming to experience this event because it helps us see it through your eyes. And this is a burner who'd been going to, them for many, many years, and so they kind of get a little bit used to it, and the magic of the burn kind of wears off after a little bit of time, and you get a little bit jaded, a bit tired, and the politics come up and blah blah blah, and all that stuff that happens. But this person was really really touched by my enthusiasm and my excitement and my sheer astonishment at how amazing the event was, and they shared that with me, which was a really nice experience to have. He's like, wow, I actually had forgotten a lot of the things that you're talking about, and they are truly magical and a really special part of this experience and the event. So he was very grateful to listen to me going, oh my god, this is crazy, this is amazing, what do you mean, la 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 la, all the things. So
I like how you mentioned that, because I do love meeting new burners, and it's a way for me, like you said, everything becomes too familiar and tiring, I guess, with the sore eyes, sight for sore eyes. But once you get to talk to them and you hear about some of the things that they're experiencing with fresh eyes, it's something that hopefully, you want it to rub off on you. So meeting these new burners actually sort of invigorates or gives you a different perspective of the burn. And also volunteering. So you went through gate or greeters, you did rangering, and that will give you a different perspective of the burn as well.
Yeah, for sure. And then you figure out which ones you're really good at and which ones, you're not so good at, and how much effort you want to and energy you actually have. Because I think sometimes we underestimate or overestimate how much capacity we have. And particularly if you are camping and the conditions are a bit, uncomfortable, or you're tired and, your drive was a little bit longer or more difficult, and by the time you get there, you could be so exhausted that all of those shifts you signed up for, just aren't realistic. So that's something I would share with would-be burners. Just, don't underestimate how tired you might be if you are sleep deprived and, maybe haven't drunk enough water, or you've been in the sun all day long, or just even dealing with the wind. It can be really exhausting. And then you have to go and be in a people-facing role. There's just some things to consider about your self-care and making sure that you're in the best headspace and physical space possible to do those roles, because some of them are incredibly intense, as you'd know, and it's not exactly a walk in the park. Some of those shifts are really hard, and experience helps, but sometimes you just have to accept that it might not be your best day on the paddock, and just be gentle with yourself around that. But it's like anything in life,
Yeah, some of those volunteering roles, particularly the hard ones or the difficult ones or the ones that's challenging to yourself, I think you learn more from it. I think there's a lot of transferable skills that you can pick up.
Absolutely.
Probably the one on the top of my list is interpersonal skills. How do you build these communication skills with your peers and other people and other burners? So that's what I enjoy. I just want to take out of it. Yeah. So shall we talk about? So I'm pretty sure that the listeners would also like to tune into this show for the latest news and burner information. So shall we talk about the burner calendar for this year?
Well, sure.
Some of the important dates, so the listeners can sort of like track from what's happening for this year, 2025. We have several burns in New Zealand and in Australia, and the main ones, we've got Kiwi Burn, which is happening. It started on Wednesday, 22nd of January, and finishes on Monday, the 27th. We've got Blazing Swan, which is happening traditionally around Easter time, Easter long weekend.
Yep.
So that's going to be in April this year. Do you know what the theme of this year is? Have you checked it out?
Swan, I think it's Cosmic Coincidence, which is cool. Yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah, and the dates for that would be Wednesday the 16th to Tuesday the 22nd of April.
Yeah, so that's definitely over the Easter long weekend and school holidays. Well worth going to that one. Those WA burners definitely know how to do it properly. Shout out to Church of Belligerents if you're listening. And Intelligent Deviants. Yep. Then we've got Burning Seed. Yeah, in June, long weekend, the 4th to the 10th of June.
Which long weekend is that now? Is that the King's birthday?
Yes.
It used to be the Queen's birthday, is that right, for the Eastern States people?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, and I think I saw the theme on social media pop up, but I'll just check that. Yeah, I thought I saw.
And then we've got Third Degree.
Oh, yeah, that's in New South Wales. You guys are so lucky in New South Wales.
And that's going to be Thursday the 4th of September to Monday the 8th of September. So that's kind of like very close to the Big Burn.
Exactly.
So there could be some travelling conflicts there if people are trying to get to both. People have.
Yeah. You could do a whole year of just traveling around the world going to burn related events. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, and this list is not even it doesn't include all the side events that happen as well, the fundraisers and the the community events that pop up.
I think once we get the hang of podcasting this show, we'll have more details in terms of the small events, the fundraisers, and the meetups, burner pubs and stuff like that. So, and then Underland, you guys got a date, Thursday 25th of September to Monday the 29th of September. And the theme is pop, as we talked about.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
And there's also a new burn calendar to add to that list, is the Tassie Burn. So we'll be talking more about that. I'm
so excited about that one. Does it have a name?
Not quite sure, but yeah.
And is there any burn event that happens in South Australia? I always wondered about that.
That's a good question. Nothing yet.
Nothing yet, because I've met several Burnie folks from that neck of the woods. It would be good to talk about an online session that we have coming up on Tuesday, February the 18th, an online session from 8 till 9 p.m. This one is an information session put on by Common Arts Victoria, and it's all about Woodlovers paralysis, which is a syndrome that affects some people after they've taken psilocybin mushrooms, and it can be quite scary for the people impacted by that as well as their friends. So this information session will talk people through, what to look for and what to do if someone in your group or yourself experiences Woodlovers paralysis. From what I gather about it, it's not something you can easily identify by looking at the mushroom. So I'll definitely be coming to that one. I'm really interested. It's a fairly new risk or concern. I did hear about it earlier last year.
Especially when you're out there especially when you're out there in the countryside or the outback of Australia.
For sure. And apparently it's only it only happens in Australia. So I don't know how accurate that information is, but I'm going to go along and bust some myths around it. Let's have a look at that one. Yeah, it's public. Anyone can attend. It's delivered via Common Arts Vic, via Zoom, and there'll be a panel of people who have experienced Woodlovers paralysis firsthand, as well as people who treated them, so first responders, medics, for example, and there is also going to be experts in harm minimization and toxicology. So a really nice, well-rounded panel of people who've had first-hand experience and those that know what to do. So it sounds like a worthwhile event to get along to, and for 1 hour. It'll probably be recorded as well,
cool.
I would say.
Yeah, cool. So we're going to provide all those information in the show notes. So I just want to plug the show notes as well as the website and social media links. For the listeners that are not familiar with how podcast works or podcasting, there is a show notes section of the podcast, and we'll detail all the links and all the other information that was talked about in this episode. We also have a mailbag. So we're going to launch that, and this is for feedback as well as whatever you want to
send swag.
Yeah, we will get that. But yeah, whatever you guys want to comment or talk about, or send us a voice message as well. The email address is mailbag@bonzaarpodcast.net. Yeah, check that out. Our website as well, and we have transcripts for this podcast, this episode, and future episodes as well. So for the people that prefer to actually speed read rather than listening, we have that available as well.
Awesome. Are we thinking of getting international guests or people from other parts of the world on the show?
Definitely. But the concentration will be just Bonzaar at the moment. Mm-hmm. So the idea is to get sort of like catalog of all the burner communities and the burner voices. So yeah, definitely would talk more to international burners and international regionals. Yeah, looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's really picking up in this part of the world.
Yeah, there's a lot of good things to look forward to.
Are you going to just before you move on, are you going to anything this year, Stevan? What's your calendar looking like?
So this year will be, I'll be concentrating on getting Burning Seed happening again. I'm not part of any committee or any orgs doing that, but I'm looking forward to getting the community, embracing the community again. Underland is also on the calendar, and I want to check out probably Tassie Burn, see what they're up to as well. But we will go visit the Pact crew, the People's Art Collective of Tasmania, and have a chat with them. And also want to find out more about our Asian regionals such as Dragon Burn and Japan Burn. So that'll be interesting.
Are there any burns in Thailand or Malaysia, Bali that you know of? Yeah,
these are definitely potentials for emerging kind of communities there. But I don't think there are. Or any expats that's actually living there that's starting anything. Perhaps maybe just a local meetup, but yeah, there's potential there.
Yeah, it just starts with a conversation.
Yeah, that's right. It just starts with an idea. All right, so let's close this episode, and thanks for dropping by and sticking around for the debriefing.
My pleasure.
The next episode, we'll just give a little preview about the next episode. We'll be talking to some Kiwi burners, and they were on site when we actually had a chat with them, so it was really good. Made me a bit homesick listening to the background noises and listening to them talking about what's happening at Kiwi Burn this year. So yeah, stay tuned.
Awesome. Excellent.
All right, Becca, thanks for. Please join us again for the next episode. So I'd love to have you back on, and we'll be hearing more from you.
You bet. Thanks, guys.